Good morning, Shri Krishna. Morning, David. Morning, Salman.
Good morning.
Morning, Tejas. Good morning, Sadvendra.
Good morning.
Morning, Sadish. Morning, Vikas. Vikas.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Morning, Jyoti. Let's wait for a minute or two, then we can start it. Morning, Anup. Okay, it looks like maximum people are there. Let's start. Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, guys, before we start, any doubts or any questions? Did you go through the yesterday's topics? Do you have any questions or anything there before we start for the next session? No. So first thing would be, did you guys go through it? I know it's a weekend, but post completing the session, did you guys get a chance to go back and revisit those topics or do your research? Yes, no. So no doubts.
Yep, no doubt so far. Since we covered the fundamentals,
Mhm.
I specifically did not go through it again.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
No, no doubt.
Okay. Okay, yes, let's start then. If there are no doubts, let's bring up the topics what we have for today. So these are the topics what we have for today to cover up. Okay. So we need to go through Azure Active Directory, Azure AD identities, and role-based access. What is order different authentication methods and all that, and how do we use the Azure AD Connect and self-service password reset. Okay. Now, before we jump on Azure Active Directory, anyone has an idea what is Active Directory?
Kind of logbook?
It's a central repository to manage users, computers, and other resources in any given organization.
Mhm. What else? Anyone else? What is Active Directory? And why do you use it?
It is a central database to manage users' computers and network resources.
Mhm. And what's the use of Active Directory?
What's the
Use of Active Directory. Why do you need it?
to manage all the components like users, computers, OUs,
This kind of access
printers.
management service,
Yeah,
yeah, where all the users' information has been stored, and we can provide the all the privilege to the users in the organization.
Mhm.
But it's not just an access management system. It manages the entire resources that comes under any organization.
Mhm. Okay. Great, guys. So, Active Directory. Why do you use? And what is Active Directory, first of all? So, this is nothing but the access management, right? Wherein you have your users, you have your security groups, you have your distribution groups, right? And you have your computers, and it is used centralized. It is centralized to manage your all network access controls for your organization, right?
Yeah.
Now, we said Active Directory has users, it has security groups, it has distribution groups, it has computers. Now, when you join your company, any new company, you get your user IDs, right?
Mhm.
So these user IDs are what?
What do you mean?
Identification,
username.
So these
unique ID
usernames
for
are
the
nothing but
person.
the users being created in your company's Active Directory, right? Which you can use to log into your systems or access your company resources. How do you access your company resources now?
By logging to the company domain.
That's what you're doing, logging into your computer, right?
Right.
Which is being provisioned by your company and which is
Yeah.
already joined to the domain.
Right.
I say XYZ is the company. This is my company.com. And Anup joins a company called as a XYZ. And he gets a username from the IT saying Anup at xyz.com is your username. Now, when he's logging to the computer, what he does, XYZ / Anup, and he enters his password, right? Yes, no.
Yes.
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 Now, he is able to log in with this,
Yeah.
correct? Because his ID is created in XYZ domain.
Yeah. It can be an FQDN as well.
Yeah, it can be, depends. If you're using, you can just, because already it's joined to the domain, as soon as you enter Anup and the password, that should be good enough to enter it. Okay. But when you're logging to servers, there might be a situation wherein you're using your stuff like / and then trying to do it. Or else if you're all logged into the local credentials or so, right? So just you need to switch with the domain name. Right? Now, will Anup have access to, consider Anup works for a department called quality engineering. Okay. And he has to have access to the file servers or the shared folders for the quality engineering. Will he be able to have the access directly once the user is created?
No.
If
No,
the user is added to a specific group, then the user will have access granted to that particular group. That's generally how it works.
Mhm. So if consider now Raghavendra is part of the QA manager. Okay. Now what he does, he says create an account for Anup which has the same accessibility like Amit. That's when Anup will have the access what Amit has, or what all shares Amit can access, same Anup could access. Because when the ID was created, it was being mirrored or it was being provisioned the same access as Amit. Okay. Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes.
Now there is a requirement wherein Anup is already skilled on development, so he has to do some additional development support as well. So he has to be part of a different development group. So now what Anup has to do?
he needs to be added to those specific groups, I think, development.
Required roles and permissions.
Yeah,
Right. So he needs to request for those access, the new role access, or he has to request to add to the particular security groups so that he can access those resources. Right.
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Now, what happened here? What does the security group do? It manages your accessibility. In sense, it manages what set of permission particular user should be having, and that's what you are setting up these permissions on your shared folders, or it might be your servers, it might be on any shared resources actually, okay, or the application. If you need to provision access to any specific application, consider everyone has access to the payroll portal like ADP or whatever the company uses, right? So you have the access to your payroll portal. Will you have the complete access to a payroll portal? Will you have the access to the complete access to the payroll portal?
That belongs to the companies. If they have it limited, all users will have a read-only permission with their limitations. Not complete to be editing of entire things like days coming out, hours of hours working. That's everything according to the manager approval. That belongs to them. How exactly they are designing it.
Okay. Now the payroll is whose functionality?
Payroll department. Only few accessibility we have.
Sorry, Mita.
That with the payroll department
Right.
who's managing that portal, only few access we have.
Okay. So payroll department
is HR department basically.
Okay. Okay.
Their finance both.
Yeah. Finance, payroll falls under finance sadly, not under HR, but yeah. So finance will have the complete access for all the users. It might be Anup, it might be Raghavendra, it might be Mita, it might be Akash. Everyone's payroll access is available with finance. Apart from that, HRs would by default, they will have, as per their business unit, they will have their units information, right? So these access are bifurcated or restricted based on this security groups. So consider you need to have access to only your payroll information. You will have the access as per, because you have been added to the respective user group, and you will have access only to your specific payroll. But if you're part of the finance, yeah, obviously you'll have the access to all the payrolls, in sense everyone's. This all application restrictions are being done through using security groups. Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what is distribution list, distribution groups?
Those are the groups where usually it sends emails to communication to entire group members.
So distribution group is nothing but set of people part of that group where you can send an email communication, but this cannot be used for any access related or provisioning access. It's only for the collaboration. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you might be seeing there will be email coming in from HR. So if you see the email has been sent to all users or specific business unit users based on the communication to the specific units, or it might be the thing. If it's all org communication, it would be going to the all org communication, right? So those are nothing but the distribution groups where it allows you to send email to the set of people or who are part of that group. Am I clear on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any doubts?
No doubt.
No.
Okay. Now we said this is how is a Active Directory and what it does, right? If you talk about the Active Directory, there are a lot of things. If you go in depth, okay, what is what is not, in sense, if you have your organization being spread across different geographical regions. It's in US, it's in Europe, it's in India. Then there would be a domain controllers specifically for that regions, and only the primary domain controller would be at your headquarters, and that has been replicated as to all this secondary domain controllers. So any changes are happening at any domain controller, they are being replicated to your master database or master schema, wherein all that information has been synced all across the regions. It might be India, Europe, it might be US, wherever you go. So you'll find the same information, but there will be a replication time set. It might be 15 minutes, it might be 30 minutes. Based on that time frame, your data has been synced to across the domain controllers, and you will be able to see any changes or any modifications to the system. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's come to the Azure Active Directory. It should be same, right? Yes.
Yeah, it is a combination of on-premises functionalities and on-cloud functionalities of LDAP, Azure Directory functions.
Okay. So you mean to say you can set up Azure Active Directory on-premises as well?
Not really, but it will be a bridge between the Microsoft's on-prem services such as Exchange Server, DNS, DHCP, system management servers, and so on. And those conventional services will be clubbed or bridged to the more advanced cloud-based services like Office 365, um, Exchange on Cloud, and so on.
Okay.
SharePoint services, and so on.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Is Azure Active Directory is same as Active Directory? Or is it different?
And it will be the same like on cloud-based Active Directory, and this one is the on-prem Active Directory. That is the generic way we can say the same.
Logically, it is the same with all Active Directory components exactly to be working, but functionality it is pretty much different, higher end levels. Talk about accessing and logging into if it is a normal things, log into the AD servers, accessing with dsa.msc, and then you will be accessing. But here it's pretty much a little bit different how you accessing it.
Okay. So guys, first of all, what is Azure Active Directory? Azure Active Directory is nothing but a service from Azure to manage your identities. What did you say in the Active Directory? It's a identity provisioning and access management. Now, in Azure Active Directory, what it is? It's nothing but the service provisioned by Microsoft Azure to manage your identities. Okay. In this, what all you have? Same users, Security groups. Distribution list. Something called as a dynamic distribution list, and service principals, managed identities. In Active Directory, you forgot something. Have you heard about service accounts?
Yes.
And why it is used?
Service accounts are mostly like generic accounts where we can use to for
It's for
logging
the
purpose.
application purpose.
Application
Application purpose, when they're using that one
service.
particular ID, needs to have an password not to be changed in regular phases, kind of a stuff. So if it is a normal user account, 90 days has been every time you have to change the password. On service accounts, if you keep the passwords, that has been application will be accessing it, and that does not mean logging with an that servers and all have more restriction. That's the reason for the service account is required.
Okay. So why I brought up that point is because we missed there. Now we would be discussing part of that here in the Azure. So you have a reference why we need the service account. Okay. So is clear, right? Service account is ideally used for provisioning access to application, or you want to run any service application services, right? So if you're running with ID called as a Anup, and Anup's password as per the password policy, some companies have the 45 days, some companies have a 60 days, some companies have a 90 days password expiry policy. Okay, based on the policies, it will prompt you to change the password. If you might be seeing, your organization might be prompting you to change the password 15 days, you might be getting a notification 15 days prior to your password expiry, right?
Yes.
So those policies are being set on your normal accounts, but service account is used for using if you want to set up some application services which has to start once the system the server has been rebooted, or so it has to start delayed. It has a dependency with SQL. If you start the application service before, then there would be a problem. So what you do, you need to start your database services first. Once the database is up and running, then you want to there should be a delayed 5 minutes or so, you want to start your application service. All those tasks are being done and the services are being run through service accounts, so that it's been managed to service account. If the password because this would be a complex and never expiring passwords, okay, wherein they would be setting it up so that you don't have to go ahead and keep on doing. But some organizations follow the standard of, okay, every quarter or every 6 months they go ahead and take a downtime, and security team will go ahead and ask them to change those service account passwords, and they will share the new password, the complex password, and these guys have to go ahead and update on all the application services which are running as per the run books and SOPs, and go ahead and update them for all the services and make sure the services are coming up and new password has been working successfully. Okay, but some, they keep it never expire and they never turn back to that. But nowadays it's not the same. Security has been strengthening their policies, and they make sure they send the communication to all the application owners. These are service accounts and these are the things gonna expire, and we are gonna change this password. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in Azure Active Directory, what we say, it manages identities. What is identity? Nothing but the user accounts, right? Now, it has a security groups as well. Security groups is used for what? for access management, wherein you are giving access to specific resource, specific application, or specific set of application, or it might be a file share, whatever it might be. You are using the security group to manage the access management. Now, we spoke about distribution groups. Now here we say distribution list. Is it the same or different?
Both are same, distribution list and
Okay. In that case, what is dynamic distribution list? Yes. What is dynamic distribution list then?
This is a kind of a group where the memberships of the members are automatically applied based on a specific filter criteria rather than explicitly defining them.
Okay. Now, when we talk about the on-prem, anyone heard about GPOs? Nothing but group policy object.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the use of it?
All the policies pushed back to the system.
According to the OUs, we will be security based. We are limiting on through GPUs across regions as well.
What else? Why you need the GPOs?
To enforce policies and permissions across several groups under an OU.
Okay.
For example, if you don't want to allow users to install third-party software on their systems, you can force that restriction through GPO.
Okay. What else? Any other thoughts, guys?
Practically we are doing, but in depth we don't know. When access management few things was not working, so that time we just in from CMD we directly applying that GPO.
Okay. So see, group policy object is nothing but the policy which is being applied for group of people or group of objects. In sense, when we say object, it might be a user, it might be a computer. Okay, that's reason we are calling it as a object. Now, when we say you want to access a printer and your office are in Pune, your office are in Chennai, your office in Bangalore, right? Now you need to access a printer in Pune office, okay? Because you are from Pune. Now, either you can go ahead and manually add the printer on your computer and you can access, right? What's the other way?
Usually we will have a file and print service. All the printers will be configured in respect to one single service, and then through access we can get to select it.
So you have the printers being configured on one of the server centralized and you can access from there. Right, Satish?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a functionality print server. Now, a user sitting in Pune, he is a new user and he needs a printer, and you know only one printer is there. So you can automate the task, right, for that?
Yeah. Start run / the server name. If you give it, it will show only the printers, which are the printers is in that particular domain, like Pune. And just double clicking that, that will automatically install in your local computer, right?
But that's nothing but you need to do a manual task, right?
So, one time.
So consider I have a user from Pune and I have only one printer sitting in Pune, then I can go ahead and create a group policy object, right? Wherein automatically these printers are being added to his computer. I don't have to go ahead and ask user to go ahead and do the manual. Okay, this is the print server, this is the path I'm giving, then you double click it and add it. Correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So now what this group policy does, based on your requirement, you can go ahead and set up the policy. Now consider you want to restrict a specific application because there might be applications like consider there are a lot of remote access applications, right? And some of them are not being approved by security. Okay. And your company policy says these applications should be running in or it shouldn't be installed. If user has admin access as well, he shouldn't have that privilege to install this specific application. So what we'll do, you can go ahead and create a group policy object for the particular all users under the forest, and then you can go ahead and apply it to all the users saying this specific remote access tool .exe is not being they cannot run it, right? And when they try to run it, it will pop up the message saying your company policy has restricted to run this application, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now we're talking about distribution list. Distribution list is nothing but it's same as distribution group, wherein you can have members manually added for collaborating or sending emails. Okay. What is dynamic distribution list in this case? Someone said automatically can be added. I agree with that. Automatically can be added. But how you can add it automatically?
I think we need to add some specific rules for that.
So now I'll say we're talking about the printer, right? I brought up that example because that's gonna help you here. But here we are not gonna set it anyway, but we'll talk on that, how what we're talking on the printer and other stuff, right? As part of GTO. But when we can take the same example, right? So user is from Pune and user belongs to QA department. Now what will happen, you have created a dynamic distribution list and you set up the policies or rules to validate if user is from QA department and he belongs to Pune, it has to go to the consider PUN QA DPT. Okay. So now it will go on only the user's attribute value where it shows he is from Pune and he's part of the QA department. That's when it's been added to this group. But if I have a group called all QA department, so here any user belongs to any country, any region or any office, they have to get moved to this particular distribution list. So by default, that user would be part of this because his department is QA immaterial of any location. It might be Pune, it might be US, it might be Bangalore, or it might be Chennai. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now here, you don't have to manually go ahead and manage this distribution list. When you create as a dynamic and you set up your rules, it will go ahead and look for that. It will query and it will go ahead and add those users automatically to the specific groups. Clear?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any doubts so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, what is service principle? Yeah, go ahead. Ravindra had question.
No, just no. That's okay. Never mind. Go ahead.
If you have questions, just put across. No worries. It's going to help others as well.
No worries.
Okay. Okay. Now, what is service principle in that? Have you heard anywhere at any point saying service principle accounts or anything about the managed identities? No one?
No, not heard.
Okay. Service principle are nothing but accounts created by applications, and these are created automatically and managed by Azure. What do you mean by managed by Azure now?
This one you're referring to one enterprises admin accounts kind of stuff.
No, Satish.
Okay.
Just to give you a clue, it might be, Satish, if you want to add a thought, it's same as service accounts.
Yeah, what happens is if the organizations usually where they applications teams they will be holding few accounts to access and everything, but something if they can't do anything else, this Azure's principal accounts they have an higher administration accounts to do modification kind of stuff. They have additional kind of things. That's what it's hitting in my mind.
Mm-hmm. See, Service accounts with special privileges is a different scenario. Okay, and the service accounts what ideally being created. Okay, those are being created for managing your application services. It might be internal to that server. Okay, or a specific application servers.
Correct.
But there is a similarity here. Okay, service principles are nothing but these are same as our service accounts, but these accounts are created by application. When you are trying to create any application services on Azure as part of your PaaS, what will do? Application itself will go ahead and create these accounts, and they are managed automatically by Azure, wherein consider your service account. Now, as I gave an example, some organizations, what they do, they have the quarterly or bi-yearly password change policy for security accounts, service accounts, wherein security team will reach application owners, server owners, and server infrastructure team to collaborate and get the things changed. They will go ahead and change the password, complex password, and they provision it. And where you take a downtime for the applications and you update those account on all the services where you're running, or it might be at the application end, it might be wherever the integration has been done, or you are connecting the specific service account, your database connectivity is happening through that specific service account at the application layer. You go ahead and update that password at your application file as well, right? So this activity is being taken care by, this is being done manually by us, right? In this case, what will happen? This is all taken care by Azure itself. It will go ahead and rotate the password. It will go ahead and change the password periodically, and it will secure it. But the life cycle of this account is so when I say life cycle of account is same as application, what does it mean?
Till that application has been subscriptions has been going off in the sense, then this account also will go off.
So consider you built an application, okay, and post that you found a new solution which is much better and it has enhanced capabilities and it's much more cost effective, and you are planning to migrate the data from your existing application to the new SaaS model application, okay, and you migrate that data. Post that you stop this application. So you have communicated to your org-wide employees and notified, okay, this is a new application accessibility link, or you can access from once you log into your portal, organization portal, then you can, under applications, you can see your new application link and you can access from there, right? The communication has been sent. Now you keep this application for a week or two based on your decommissioning policy, what is being there in your organization, and then you go ahead and delete this application. Try and clean up all the resources, right? Now, when you delete the application, what will happen? Along with that, this service principal account is being cleaned up. So it's as long as your application is up and running and it's available in your cloud infrastructure. Am I clear?
Yep.
Now, what is managed identity then? Any thoughts? Anyone? No thoughts, guys?
No, I don't have any idea on this.
See, managed identity is nothing but it's the same as service principal. But only difference here is it's been manually created by you. Manually created by you, and password, rotation, and deletion is all managed by you. But still, these managed identities can be used to integrate with our application, provision the access, we can provide the access to the resources or application. Whatever you want, you can do it. But this is being done by you. And life cycle, it's on you when you want to delete. It's independent of the life cycle. Clear?
So it is same like a group, something.
No. If I have to relate, same as service account, I can say. But this is used for not to log in or anything. It's used to access your application. In sense, your application services, your database services, and everything. You can provision the access to resources within the Azure.
Okay.
Now, what you heard about service principal? What's the use of service principal?
Service principal, same like service accounts. It's managed by the Azure, and managed entity is managed by ourselves. So these are the basic difference.
Right.
I have some doubt. So if I will manage, suppose I am SAP user. So in SAP, like we use the DDIC user. It is managed by me, and like some service user like SAP Star and all. So I think I'm differencing in between both. SAP Star we never change or never delete. And DDIC ID manually we have change and all those things, so we can do. So I am similarly I am differencing in both. So I am right or wrong? So please
So you
correct me
said
if you have.
AD ID, right? Which has been managed by you. And there are the star users, right? Star users are nothing but which gets created automatically when you are deploying your SAP applications or you're doing something, right?
Yes.
Those are nothing but your service principals. Now, ADIC users. Why you're using ADIC users? To provision the access manually or integrate with any other application from your HANA integration point, right?
Yes.
Correct? Anu?
Yes.
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 No?
Yes. Yes.
So those ADIC users are nothing but your managed identity.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically consider you are giving access to Raghavendra or Akash or Meeta, then that's the user-based access you are provisioning to the SAP through security groups, or you're adding them manually to the application access list.
Okay, got your point.
Clear?
Yes, not clear.
Hope that clarifies, guys. Anyone has any doubts?
Not from me.
Okay. Let's move to the next topic. Yes, no, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
See, one thing, every session I'll keep first maybe 5-10 minutes for your questions. I understand if you have doubts, please go ahead, and because you'll get a week's time to go ahead and understand, and if you're doing the things and trying to learn more on the research, okay, on the concepts, then you can come back with the questions if whatever the doubts you have. We'll try to relate with the real-time examples so that it will help you to understand. See why I'm getting this. There might be, I don't have to bring in the Active Directory here because, but the people now in the everyone in the corporate world, at least if I try to relate them with real time, what's happening, or there are people who are there from the existing environment, who are the system admins or part of the IT support and all that. So it will help them to understand. That's where I'm trying to bring in what is Active Directory, whatever the things would be, so that it might help you to clarify that. Okay, so it would be easier for your understanding. Okay,
Got it.
what's the next topic? Let's see. Okay, we covered Azure Active Directory. Hope you do not have any doubts so far on that.
No.
Second topic, what we reached on, Azure Active Directory types, users, groups, service principal, and managed identities. Right? Hope you are clear on this factor as well.
Yes.
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 Okay. Now let's get into what is role-based access, what is different authentication methods. Okay.
So once the class is completed, will you place this file into the reference folder?
Sure, I'll do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what do you mean by role-based access?
Yeah, based upon the role, they will access the respective applications.
Sorry?
Yeah, based upon the role itself only, they will be able to access the, see, for example, manager can view subordinates records like that. And the subordinates only have access read only. I mean, different access will be having based upon the role. Visibility mainly.
Okay.
Basically, role-based access is a specific role has been assigned. Rest access will be barred for that user.
Okay, great. So now we took an example in the first box, right? Wherein Raghavendra is a QA manager and he would be having access to all QA resources. Correct? And Anup is a new joiner to the QA team. He will have access to QA resources based on the peered user information what Raghavendra shared earlier when he raised a request to mirror the access. Correct? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Raghavendra has got skills wherein he can perform some development task. And based on that, Raghavendra nominated him to one of the development managers, and they said, okay, let's use this resource for our need. Now he needs access to some of the development resources. Correct? Yes,
Yeah.
no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there is something the development team works on. Consider 3 to 4 different applications. And Anup is going to support only one specific module of one application. Does he needs access to all that 3-4 applications and all different modules of each application?
No.
No.
No, right? Now, if that's the case, how do you define Anup should have access only to the specific module or specific application group?
Categorized by the roles, we define the role and give the access according to that.
What you're saying, you are categorizing the role to the specific application or a module, and you're categorizing the role for set of resources. Now, specific module requires access to consider GitHub or Azure DevOps. Along with that, to access the code, along with that, that module requires access because this application he will be deploying on one of the set of server and testing connecting to the database. So he needs access to what? Specific virtual machine. He needs to access what? To the code of that particular module from GitHub or Azure DevOps, right? Or Visual Studio, right? And then he needs access to the application server. But to modify, he needs this. But he needs access to the database server to go ahead and see if whatever the test he is performing, he can, those are getting logged, and he can refer to those logs from the database server and see the values what is trying to put across, it's going and sitting properly. Now, in that case, does he requires the role of editing on the database? Guys, following or should I repeat?
Please repeat. I missed something.
Okay. So now, as I said, Anup is working on a specific development module, right? Now, this module requires access because the code is being put under GitHub. So he needs access to the code to modify that code, right? Second access, what he needs? He needs the access to the Azure DevOps because you are managing your sprints, you're managing your project timelines, and updating your user story on the Azure DevOps. So you need the access to the Azure DevOps, right? Now, once you modify the code, to modify the code, what you need? You need access to the Visual Studio, right? Now, apart from these 3 factors, what you need? Once you modify, you go ahead and build that code. You need to deploy it on one of the machines, which is your test machine, nothing but the which is used for a specific application. You need the access to that virtual machine, right? Now the fifth is he needs only the read access to the database server so that he can go ahead and see what are the modifications he is doing. That testing, the value generated, he can see, able to see those entries are getting populated on the database, and you do not see any errors or anything as per the tables. He wants the access, only read access to the database. Now in this case, for database server, did I give him the read access, or only I need to give him the edit access as well?
Edit access as well. Without edit access, we can't do debugging and all those things. So that is the reason it is required. So we request for that.
So, but
only for
debugging
the
where you're doing?
specific table. Sorry?
Debugging where you're doing?
Yeah, so from the database, not application level, we will do, and we know so changing in the table, and also we required definitely not
As
the
it,
database,
he
only
doesn't
table, specific
need
table.
any changes to be made on the database. He just has to see whether whatever from the application is trying to input the things, it's being visible on the table. That's why he needs the read access on the database. He doesn't have to modify anything there.
Yes. So yes. So if you are not changing any modifying in the table level, so no need to access about the database. We can restrict over that.
So at least I can give him the read access to see whether the things what is putting across is sitting properly in the tables, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Now, for the application server, what he needs, because he has to deploy everything, he has to manage that virtual machine.
Read and write access in application level.
Read and write access, right? Yeah. Now, to modify the code on your GitHub, he needs access to the modify as well there, right?
Yes.
And update the code.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Modifying the code needs to be there.
Yes.
Now, what we said, we need access what? Read, write.
Read, write for code level and Visual Studio app.
Read, write, right? And we need a read only at database, right? And I'm a project manager. Consider Raghavendra as a project manager for the development. What he needs? He needs the complete access to the project on all the resources.
Yeah.
So what I would say, owner access is required to Raghavendra. Anup requires only read access to DB. Anup requires write access to the application server, right? Read write access to the application. Correct? Yes, no, guys?
Yes.
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 So now, read write, I can say contributor. Can I say contributor access? Where I can read, write, and delete that object. I can say contributor. Read would be the same as long as it's a read, right? Yes?
Yes.
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 Now, owner has the complete access. Consider Anup has the access to read, write, delete this particular application. Will be Anup able to provide the access to someone, one more user, Meeta, who needs read access to database? Will Anup be able to provide the access to this server?
No.
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 Who can
No,
provide
then
that?
missing
Owner
create
can give.
owner.
Right? You got the difference, what different groups and what it means?
Yes.
Right? So, same way in Azure, we have owner, we have contributor, we have read. Okay, these are the major things, but there can be a set of customized roles, and also there are predefined roles which might be to the specific application contributor. It might be virtual machine contributor, so you'll be able to manage that virtual machine or set of virtual machine in that particular thing. Okay, so far these roles are clear. Before I get deep dive into more in this,
Clear.
It's clear.
now yes, yesterday we spoke something. Yesterday we were talking about Geo, right? Does anyone remembers?
During the subscriptions.
Zone, right?
So what is the first level?
Region.
Sorry?
Tenant.
Region.
Tenant, right? Nothing but the
Managing
group,
management group. Yes.
right? What's the next?
Subscription.
What's the next?
I think resources.
Resource management or resources? Resource
I would
group.
say
Yeah,
group.
yeah, resource.
So now when we spoke about Reliance, what we said, Reliance Jio is the tenant. Under that, we have a subscription called as a fiber. We have a subscription called as a TV channel. We have a subscription called as a OTT, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, Anup requires only fiber. He doesn't need the TV channels. He doesn't need his DTT, OTT, because he has already D2H, so he doesn't want to change that, and he's happy with that. In that case, he is gonna be part of only specific resource group. That is nothing but your what? Fiber? Yes, no, guys.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But in the subscription, they will take only one, right?
Yeah, subscription. See, one subscription is what? So now consider you take a subscription. The question was from Jivan, right?
No, Satish.
Satish. Okay. Satish, you take a subscription for a Jio.
Yes.
Okay. Now you purchased a subscription from Jio. Now you took only the thing is fiber.
Yes.
But at the same time, consider your brother, or if you're married, your wife, she has a subscription with Hotstar or something, or Netflix, right? So you can still watch that, right? You can still use that based on your wife's subscription. So, but you don't have to go within the OTT group with Reliance Jio because you already have it separately. Now, consider you took only fiber. Now you want to take a OTT and TV under your wife's name because your company pays for your internet expenses only, and you want to keep that bill separate out of your internet fiber bill and your OTT and TV channel bill. Now you take that subscription under your wife's name or brother's name. What will happen? You are using all these resources still, but they are under two different subscriptions. Am I clear?
Yes.
Right? Now, these are your resources, right? When we talk about the resources, nothing but it might be different channels, it might be your different OTT applications like Z5, it might be Hotstar, it might be your Netflix, it might be your Prime Video, right? Those are nothing but your resources. Now, how you can provide the permission? Either you can group, you can give at the tenant level. Once you give at the tenant level, you have access to all these resources, top to bottom, right? If you give this access at the subscription level, now Satish has a subscription with Reliance Jio, but he has a services, all three services, fiber, TV channel, and OTT. Now he has access to all three, right? Under his subscription. Correct?
Yeah.
If you had split the same, wherein you took only the fiber in your name, because company was paying for you, and you took your OTT and TV channel under wife or brother's name. In that case, it was two different things, right? So Satish will have access only to the fiber, and he has he can log in through his wife's account also to the other resources. Clear? Are you following this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, how you can provide this access? You can provide top to bottom. If you want to restrict the access, what we are talking about Anoop's example here, so we can provide access to specific resources based on the resources. Clear?
Yeah.
So this is nothing but the role-based access. So if I go here to the Azure and I say I want to give the access to someone, so if you see the role assignments, and you see the roles, see the major roles are first three. Okay, owner grants full access to all resources, including the ability to assign roles in the Azure rollback. Contributor grants access to manage all resources, but does not allow you to change your permissions or assign any permission to someone. Read, by default, you will have a view all resource access, but does not allow you to make any changes. Clear? Same way, you have different set of built-in roles. So if you're saying ACR, it's nothing but Azure Container Registry Access. ACR is nothing but Azure Container Registry. Okay. The same way, you have lot of set of built-in roles. You can provide the access. Consider you want to give the app configuration contributor access. So consider you have applications built in on your PaaS services, and if you want to give access to Anup to all the applications, you can do that as well. Okay, as a contributor, you will have access to all applications, so that he can do that. Even your application has, you can integrate your application with the APIs to pull out the data or push the data. In that case, also you can give it to your workspaces so that APIs can be configured or built and managed. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Any doubt, guys?
No.
Okay. So role-based access, are you clear completely on this? No doubts? Yes, can I move to the next topic?
Yes.
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 Yes, yes.
Okay. Now let's get into what is MFA?
Multi-factor authentication.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
More than 2 sign-in methods.
More than
Yes.
2 sign-in methods, right? So, does anyone uses ICICI bank account or let's say probably ICICI would take example. Does anyone use ICICI bank account?
Yeah.
Yes.
What happens in the ICICI bank account when you try to transfer money from the net banking? What it does?
So one thing will come for OTP. Second one, in the card you have around ABCD, this numbers.
Right.
That number
It will
should
ask
be
for the
there.
grid values, right?
Yes.
So it's nothing but you're authenticating through OTP. Along with that, you're authenticating with the grid value to make sure it processes your transaction, right?
Yeah.
Sir, Microsoft O365 does the multiple, MFA, use the MFA?
Yeah, right. So Microsoft O365 uses the MFA, right? What do you do in this MFA?
First of all, we have to provide our domain ID and password. Then it send the OTP.
Okay. So you validate your OTP or you validate your code from a Azure Authenticator, correct?
Correct.
Now, most of the applications, if you see, it will prompt for your first level of access would be your username password. The second would be, it will prompt you for the code or a push notification on your phone from which you have registered or you have integrated your application on the phone, right? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's nothing but
Multi-factor.
multi-factor authentication. Okay. Now, what is conditional access? Any thoughts, guys? What do you mean by conditional access? Probably I'll give the hint. We spoke some part of it as part of a GPU.
Provide access with a certain condition.
Okay. So we said what? GPUs are used for? What's the use of GPU?
Apply certain policies on the computer or users.
GPU used for the policy rollout across the users group.
Okay.
And conditional access is something uh, which is having the conditional access kind of certain defined role we can define through the conditional access. A particular ID should have this access only. So that is the conditional access.
Okay. Now consider, I'll go to the group policy once. Okay. We said there's a printer sitting in Pune, and this printer has to be by default assigned to the users who belong to the Pune.
Means certain predefined criteria should met.
Right. So what we said, users who are part of Pune, only for them by default you need to install a Pune printer, right?
Pune.
But we are not installing it for the any users who are from Bangalore or Chennai. But if you are visiting from Bangalore to Chennai, then you are getting it manually installed. Am I right?
Correct. Perfect, sir.
Right. Now, in conditional access, what will happen? You want to allow the resource, or you want to allow the particular access to a specific resource. In that case, you can set a condition. Now, Anup wants to access a particular module or particular VM on which he is going to do a development work. But he can access that particular VM or particular resource only when he comes and starts working from in the development bay. So if he is connecting from his QA bay, because they have the enclosed space, if he is working from there, he will not be able to access those resources. But when he comes and sits along with the development team, project team in their bay, that's when he can access it. In sense, his IP will get changed. So you can restrict the access using the IP, reusing the region, okay, geography, everything. So consider you want to access this resource only from Pune, and development team sits only in Pune. So when Anup is in Pune, that's when he can access it. If he is going back to Bangalore and doing the QA work, he will not have access to this resource. Am I clear?
Got it, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
So what do you mean? You can define the region, you can define the location, you can define the IP. Okay, now consider Anup works from home, but he has to finish his development work. Will he be able to connect?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay, now Anup, what was the first condition? We said if he goes and sits with the development team in their enclosed bay, that's when he can access the resources which are being provisioned to the development team. But if he sits in the QA enclosed bay, he cannot access them. Correct? Now, he has to go ahead and work on the same application from home because there's a deadline for that. Will he be able to access it?
No.
No, right? But if we say specific computer can access these resources when he is on VPN, will you be able to do that?
Yes, possible. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if he's connecting to the VPN from QA as well, will you be able to access this resource?
Yeah.
Right? Guys, are you following me? What is conditional
Got it.
access?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Can I jump to the next topic?
Yes, please.
Yes.
So, yes, sir, you can jump, but giving example in Azure level. So, can you show me the an Azure portal and how can check and how can do this one?
Yeah.
Is it
So,
possible?
see, I need to get sometime I'll get the my probably I need to share from the corporate account because I was trying to set up this AD here, and I'm owner,
Mm-hmm.
but still ideally Azure AD would be integrated with your O365 subscription, and that's where I have not been provisioned access to this Azure AD subscription so far. Okay, so let me follow up on that. Okay, I'll let you know, or else I'll use my corporate account and I'll show you sometime on that. Okay, how the
Mm-hmm.
conditional accesses work and
Okay.
what it happens, how we can set them.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
but so far you are clear on the topics.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what is single sign-on?
When you're
Passwordless.
logging into your account,
Passwordless
all
login.
the access will be coming into the one profile itself.
Uh-huh.
Like it won't. I mean, ask for credentials or authentication uh, every time. Like once we log into the domain account, it will directly allow to access that application or whatever.
Okay, let me
It is.
ask you a question in this way.
We can use the multiple application with the same username passwords.
Okay, so now I'm working for XYZ company. Okay, and I have applications which they have provided me access to. One is Office 365, which is nothing but my office application. Under that, I have the access to all the other applications, in sense Outlook, Teams, Excel, PowerPoint, Word. Okay, and apart from that, I have the application access to my consider ADP, the payroll gateway. Okay, I have access to LinkedIn learning portal. I have access to uh, 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 probably ServiceNow for ticketing tool. Okay, I have access to some inbuilt application. Now, as you said, I can log into multiple applications, right? So if I log into office365.com or office.com, will I be able to directly access the applications? ServiceNow, ADP, LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
We can.
Yes.
Okay, now I try to click application ADP, and it's prompting for the username and password again.
Post SSO.
Sorry.
This ADP is asking password again post login into SSO.
I said I logged into office.com and I can see under apps whatever the applications I have been provisioned access to.
Yeah.
So when I click on the ADP there to access the application, it's prompting for the username and password.
If SSO is enabled and SNC is enabled, then no need to ask. So you can able to access all those applications.
So
Okay.
still, if it is asking, so I think ADFS is not enabled. You have to sign in.
Okay. Guys, let me give the example here. So any application, right, you have on your portal, okay, when you want to enable the single sign-on, after enabling the single sign-on, still you need to go ahead and register those applications under your Azure AD registration, and that's when it will allow you to log in with your credentials.
Okay, understood. Post enabling the SSO, you need to add that application into that group.
So under Azure AD, let me see if, give me a minute. Okay, give me a minute. I can bring up, I believe, something. Okay. So you need all your applications to be registered. If you want to access applications, it has to be registered under your application so that you can access without prompting for the password. Okay. Someone was asking a question, right? Let me go ahead. Human added cache. Okay. So if you see, under security, I can go ahead and create a access. Okay. I can see what all the policies are being allowed. Okay. If I say I want to set up a named location, so I can create a custom IP range here. So say, as we are talking about the IP segment, right? What we said, we can, Anup can access the resources when he's on a VPN, right? Or when he is in a office. So those conditions you can add it. So you can define the set of the IP subnet, what you are provisioning on for the VPN, and what subnet is being provisioned for development team in their way. What is the subnet being provisioned or dedicated to the QA? So according to those, we can add the allowed access list here. Okay, and that's how they can be able to access this. Okay.
Here we can add the if we I'm working work from home. So how can define here? So in VPN and office premises, it is okay. So I can use that particular IP and subnetting. And what about the work from home if I am doing?
So you cannot access the company resource as long as you are on a VPN.
Okay.
Right? But your SaaS applications you can access from anywhere, maybe Office 365 or your Outlook, Teams. But
actually, some companies is having which when you're logging in, automatically connecting to the VPN with like Zscaler kind of a concept.
Right.
If it is Zscaler coming, then automatically coming into the Office VLAN, right?
Yeah. So
that's kind of stuff.
Some companies have their policy wherein by default, as soon as you reboot your system, you're connected to the VPN. It will take the credentials from the backend, your Windows login credentials, and it will log you in, and it will show where the push notification on your phone. Okay, are you logging in or what to the VPN? It might be
Actually,
off.
I. I face. My, uh, my, uh, I face. 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 Uh, my I faced some issue because I was working on two clients. So I have a global connect VPN. So I connected for the for one for single client. I was okay from work from home, but another client have some issue while connecting to global connect or their VPN. So it was a problem. Then from the backend, from the Azure level, they have set what they have set. I don't know. So I face that issue. That is the reason I am asking. How can we define?
Anup, now you said right, you connected to the specific client, right? One client. Now, second client, to their resources, how you are connecting? You are connecting through VPN,
Yes.
right? So what you're doing when you're connecting from home, you are connecting to your company VPN, and then you're connecting to the client's VPN, right?
Yes.
Now, in the client one, what you said, you were able to access the resources and it was working fine. Correct? In the client one, already the IP, your network team already discussed with your client and they asked for the subnet, because for the VPN there will be a subnet assigned when it's connecting to that, to take the IPs from your range. Okay, there would be a subnet. So that subnet is being allowed as part of your conditional accesses, and that's where you're able to work on the client one. Now the second client, you might have started newly to the client. Okay, it might be a new client wherein you're from client end, they are given access, and even your network team has provisioned, okay, please allow our set of IPs, and this is the link, this is the MPLS line, which should be allowed, and all that the public information has been given. And that's where your client has allowed that, and your network team has allowed, and you are able to work it, you are able to access it when you're in your office network without any issues, because everyone is working on that particular, for the particular client, you're connecting to VPN and you're working. But now, it might be the first instance wherein someone was trying to connect to that client from the home, and that's where they had to whitelist this IP or set of subnet, which the VPN subnet from the client they might have requested for, and they had to whitelist it. Part of your conditional access on your VPN when you're connecting.
So while I am doing from work from home and working from office, so subnet will be changed or it would be same?
Obviously. So your office subnet, if you see, it would be different, and the VPN subnet would be different.
No. I'm asking. So suppose I am working company VPN first, then again connected to the client VPN. So and while I am using, I am working from office. So it's automatically connected to company VPN. So then I connected directly to the client VPN. So what would be the difference? So subnet will be changed
No.
for both
One
same?
thing, when you're in office, you're still connecting to the Zscaler.
Yes.
You're not connecting to the company wide network or WAN there.
Yes, so Global Connect, so that we are using, so Global Connect, it's automatically connected. Then again, client VPN I am connecting, while Office it is working smoothly. While I am connecting from the work from home, so from the home, so that so it is very difficult to connect to client VPN. So what is the reason? So I am just I want to ask.
See, one thing, let me put it across here. When you're using the VPN and your office network, okay, consider your office network has a IP 10.1.x.x, okay. VPN will have the IP within 10 dot, but it would not be a 1, it might be a 2. Okay, but when you're in office, this is your WAN. So office network is this. But if you are connecting the same from the public, this is the IP. So public is nothing but your home network or your Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when this IP segment is, you are getting this IP segment, in that case, your client VPN is not whitelisted here. So it was whitelisted on here.
Okay.
Are you following? Clear?
Hello. Yes. Yes.
Any
So,
doubts, guys? Yeah.
my question is, these are the after that we are connecting the single company VPN. Like suppose Global Connect I am using, that is I am telling you Global Connect multiple times. So I am using, so from the 10.1 or at 10.2. So I am connecting in mid of the client network. Our office network is there, so Global Connect. So after the connecting the Global Connect, so my IP would be the same, or subnetting would be the same. Then it should connect to your client VPN, right?
See, that's what I'm saying. If you're in office, your subnet would be different. As soon as you're out of office, so you either connect from your hotspot if you're working while traveling, or else once you reach home, you're connecting from your home Wi-Fi, right?
Wi-Fi.
So your public IP changed. You're connecting from public IP.
Okay.
Now, when you're connecting from public IP, the VPN has to take a route from a different routing stuff. So route has been added. When you're from the public IP, it will go through some other route. Then the new IP which is being allocated to your VPN network is 10.2 as per the routing added from the network point.
Okay. Okay. So they have to allow the public network, all public network from their end. So then I will be able to access their net VPN.
See, they have allowed the public network, okay, in India. That's the reason you are able to access the global connect, right? Connect to the VPN.
Yes.
But there is a condition wherein it says when you are coming from public network and you are authenticating successfully with your Windows credential as well as your push notification to the application, it might be Okta or you are using the Beyond Trust, whatever it might be, then it will go ahead and allow you this set of IP once the handshake is completed.
Okay, you got your point. Thank you for clearing. So I have taken your more than 10 minutes. Sorry for that.
No worries. If you have doubts, just get it clarified. So it will help and it will be easier to process further. Okay.
So actually, I am not much aware about the infra related things. So that is the reason. So I have faced same issue. So then on the reference, I asked you.
No worries. Any other questions, guys?
No.
Okay. So as I said, single sign-on can be used only if your registered applications are being there. You registered it on your enterprise application, and then you can log into any third-party applications. It might be ADP or anything with your single credential. It will directly point you, or it will go ahead and route you to the inside the page or to the dashboard. Clear?
Yeah.
Now there's something called as a self-service password reset. What do you mean by that?
In case you forgot your password, you can put a request from your end, and you will get a password reset email from where you can reset your password without the help of an administrator.
Okay. So now you guys might be using Yahoo or Google or any other Microsoft Hotmail or something accounts, right? So when you forget the password, or consider like your apps, LinkedIn, Facebook, or it might be your I'm not more on the social networking, but yeah. So if you're talking on the net, any apps, right? So when you click on forget password, what it will do?
It will ask you to put in your registered email address.
Mhm.
And once this email is validated, you will receive a password reset request. Sometime it will also ask you for additional authentication such as MFA or OTP.
Mhm.
If you supply those details, you will get a password reset request,
Mhm.
which you can use for specifying a new password.
Okay. So people earlier, maybe who started the career early days, maybe 2003 or before. So any of you ever reached out help desk or anyone to reset the password?
Yeah, I did in my early days.
Yes. Yes.
And how? What was your experience, and how? What was the thing happened before, for resetting the password?
They giving back password and they ask to change it after first login.
So you did you do it from? Did you reach out to the help desk from office?
Yes, yes. Most of the time.
Sorry.
Most of the time in
Okay.
TCS they are frequently like
Did
password changing
anyone
up.
try reaching them on a call, maybe a phone call or so, from outside?
In the very beginning, I had to contact the Rediff mail team to reset my password because in those times there was no provision to request a password through self-service password reset procedure. So I
Okay.
had to send an email to the Rediff mail support and then specify the need. First they check your email address is valid or not,
Mm-hmm.
and then once the authentication is established, they used to send me an email saying that click here and you will be prompted to enter the new password. But
Okay.
in the very early times, after that, they seem
So
to.
did anyone in your organization didn't try to reach for the password reset? Any organizations?
I mean, within the organization.
Yeah.
Yes, you can contact your network. Sorry, not Active Directory administrator, and specify the need of resetting the password. And after that, the administrator will reset the password in the Active Directory users and computers group, and then send
No,
you an
no. My
email.
question is, did
Mhm.
anyone try to reach from outside on the phone call to the help desk?
From the outside, nope, nope.
Okay. So ideally, what happens, right? When you call from outside in office, okay, this is Raghavendra, this is Anup. The person can recognize, and he will reset the password for you. Okay. But when you call from outside, the first thumb rule was to verify whether you are the right person. And there is to be a security questions when you put in any of the ticketing tool. Okay, it might be a service now, it might be a remedy, or it might be a clarity, or it might be other tools. There, whatever the security questions you have set, okay, from your end as part of the security information, those questions were prompted you. Okay. Okay. If you say, what's your mother's maiden name? Right. So that was been asked. If you say, my first girlfriend's name was so and so, if I said that question, it will be asked for that. So they used to verify that all that information before resetting the password or providing the password if you're calling remotely. Clear?
Yep.
Now, the same thing happens here. When you say self-service password reset, what's asking? It's asking for your valid email address. It's asking for the OTP, right? And some of the applications still go ahead and ask for your security questions, what you said. So it will ask for your answers. If you enter the right answers, that's when it will take you forward. Otherwise, what it will then say? You didn't meet the requirement to reset the password. Simple. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we spoke Active Directory is what? On premises. Azure Active Directory is what? On cloud. Now, consider your organization wants to be hybrid. In that case, do you need all this information what is there on premises to the cloud or no?
Yes, required.
Right?
Yes.
And now, whatever the information is there on the cloud, even that is required back when you are saying hybrid? Yes, no.
No, I guess.
Why?
Because whatever access or whatever applications we do access, like authentication or whatever, it happens from Azure only. So it,
Okay.
I'm not
Now,
sure.
as
Maybe
you
I think.
said, authentication happens from Azure. Okay. I reset my password.
Okay.
But as you go the on-prem also.
We have a hybrid. Will your password you reset here? Okay, on the Azure, because you're connecting to the online page office.com and you are resetting your password here. You changed your password. How this will come to know whether the password is changed or not? Because your on-premise has some different password, old password.
It is basically the information is basically synced between your on-premise and
Hmm.
on-cloud
On cloud.
database.
Okay.
So if you change password at either end, it will be replicated to the other side.
Okay. So you mean to say you need the password to be synced, right? So that if you are going back to the office, you should be able to work on it with the new password.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what we said, we are establishing, we are here, but we want to move to the cloud. We want to bring in hybrid environment. So in that case, we need all this information here available, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For doing this, we need something that's called as a Azure AD Connect. But as the naming naming is changed from the Azure, it's called as a Microsoft Entra Connect. Earlier it was called as a Azure AD Connect. Now it's called as a Entra Connect. Microsoft Entra Connect. This is nothing but it's the application you need to install on one of your servers. It can be dedicated server separately, or you can install on your existing Active Directory or domain controller server, and it will sync your identities, security groups, and all that information back to Azure Cloud on the tenant on your
See, it's
Azure.
like a two-way authentication trust.
Sorry?
It is like a two-way authentication trust. Usually, if company to company, when they are acquiring it, they will be knowing the data transfers, so they will be tracing as a trust relationship between the domains. So in the AD, trust relationship is the domains from, there is a single-way authentication trust, two-way authentication trust, like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to that, or how exactly it works?
Okay. Now, when we talk about the acquisition, so when you acquired a company, say you acquired a company xyz.com and it's been acquired by abc.com. To communicate between these two, what you did, you built a trust
relationship. Yeah.
But in the back end, what you did, you added the attribute saying, okay, Anup at xyz.com is the actual email address. But what you did, you added Anup at xyz.com as a attribute value on ABC. Now, when Anup is connecting to ABC resource or the person consider Raghavendra at abc.com. He's from ABC company originally. So now his alias or identity is being created under your XYZ. And the same way, the identity is being created on a ABC, right? And you have a trust between both and you are able to communicate. Now, when you say you want to take off completely, shut down the ABC, what will do? What will do?
Moving entire data to the XYZ and we'll keep it shut down for a while to check everything's been okay. And after that, we will be slowly decommissioning all this stuff.
What you'll do? We'll go ahead and make his entry.
Yeah.
Whatever the XYZ entry was there, you'll make it as a primary. And you break this trust and decommission this. Now, when it becomes a primary as XYZ, here, for Raghavendra, what will happen? He will be able to continue using his application and everything from XYZ in the backend. These other identities are being taken off and this complete domain has been shut down and decommissioned. Right?
We can use the ADMT tool for this purpose.
See, there are different tools. You can use, go for the Quest,
AD Manager.
You can use for the Active Directory migration tool. There are a lot of things. But in the back end, it's a simple thing you are doing is, you are doing this so that the communication is being there. When the acquisition completes, all your applications are being moved and everything has been done, taken control over with the new accounts and everything. It's been in place and a smooth transition has been completed, right?
Yeah.
Now in Azure AD Connect, what it is doing, whatever you have. So if you say Anup and Raghavendra is here as XYZ. So same has been replicated back to the Azure. If you are creating any new user here, it's been replicated here. Okay. Now, if you're changing the password here, then the write back is done because the password synchronization has to happen. It's been done back to your local Active Directory or a domain controller, so that still when you are in you want to access any local servers, you are able to access with the new password. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Right?
Got it.
Any doubts so far?
Nope.
See, it's a small application, Azure AD Connect, nothing but the Entra Connect. You need to install on any of your domain controller and establish the synchronization, and that will go ahead and sync back to your Azure Active Directory. Simple. And it allows you to write back the password.
So that should be in the domain controller. Installation
Yeah,
should be in
you
the
can
domain
install on domain controller or you can
Or
install
SAM.
on any dedicated server.
Okay.
Simple. Okay.
Got it.
Any doubts, guys?
No, not from me.
Nope.
No.
No.
Okay. So if everyone is good, let's wind up the session for the day. And next week we have on 3rd, we have multiple sessions on the same day. In sense, we are covering 3rd and 4th on the single day. So please finish your breakfast before 8:30. It shouldn't be like later point. We can take a break, maybe a 15-20 minutes in between. Okay. Around 10:30, so that someone has missed also, then they can grab it quickly in 10-15 minutes and be back. But ideally, we will be covering for 3rd and 4th on single day. Okay.
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 Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
your time, and see you on 3rd next Saturday. If any doubts, please bring up with the questions. We can try addressing them before we move ahead with the session.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All.
Thank you.